Welcome back. You tune into your Feel Good Breakfast Show. This is Expresso only on SABC3. A lovely Wednesday. Welcome if you have just joined us. Now, for the past couple of weeks, we've been talking about the excitement of going back to school for a lot of youngsters, but it is also that time of the year where many matriculates and graduates will be looking for work, just like I did back in the day, compiling those CVs and those cover letters. But what will set one candidate apart from the next is, of course, their skill set. And joining us right now is Cheryl Douglas, one of Microsoft expert educators, talking about the required skills for the 21st century, the information age. Cheryl, welcome to Expresso. We've just been talking how we can't believe how fast we've evolved into this technological age, but Microsoft obviously recognizing that and come up with the Expert Educators program, which I think is important for kids going back to school and especially going into the workplace. What is this program all about?
Well, the emphasis that Microsoft puts is actually on the use of technology from an educational perspective. So they don't focus on what the technology is, but how can you use it? So in the Expert Educators program, they looked for teachers to do inquiry-based projects using 21st century skills, things that people are going to need in the workplace: problem solving, collaborating, being able to communicate, both orally and in a written format. And how can one best achieve that? And the reality is that technology can help you do that. Social media, taking photographs, sharing those photographs, making use of things like SkyDrive. So the technology is not the focus, it's how one can use it to increase the skills of prospective workers.
That's it. So maybe instead of people seeing it as just more fun, it is important, you know, later on in life to be able to manage these different platforms. Now, how exactly are you using these teaching methods in your classroom? I mean, you know, how does it work?
Well, I've actually been teaching in the classroom using laptops for about the past 15 years. So my boys arrive with their laptops. We have an extensive intranet. We make extensive use of things like PowerPoint, Word documents, videos, using Movie Maker, OneNote, which is the most wonderful way of keeping track of everything that you have. You can do little podcasts on it, you can do videos. And so part of the project that I entered into the Microsoft Expert Educators program was actually trying to get kids from different schools to see how technology can be very useful in the classroom. And so we had 12 schools taking part, working together, using cell phones, using cameras, putting together a video, having to do the script beforehand in Word, sharing the information and communicating with each other. And all of those are skills that you need when you're working. And often the emphasis on rote learning doesn't allow for those development of those skills that are far more worthwhile.
So they're pretty much constantly engaging with multimedia technology while they learn.
Yes, to the point that you don't think about the technology, you think about the learning.
Indeed, indeed. And just hearing you talk about this, you know, makes me want to attend one of your classes because it wasn't around when I was at school. Now, why would you say it's so important to still introduce students to Microsoft nowadays, 2014?
I think it's almost something, you know, in the same way that one introduced kids at school to learning to write, you now use technology. The quickest way, you're sitting there with your tablet. You know, dealing with paper, aside from the sustainability issue, dealing with paper is difficult. You can't update things. You can communicate with people anywhere in the world in real time. And the pace that we deal at, we have to be able to do it. And if kids do not learn how to use technology, they're going to find it more and more difficult to actually find a job. And so I think the only way forward in education is to make use of the tools to help develop the skills. So the tools themselves are almost the Word, the PowerPoint, are almost irrelevant to what kids are trying to get across.
Because, I mean, these things you do use in the workplace on a daily basis. I mean, I use Microsoft Word every single day. And like I say, it's so important to be able to get to know these systems because I was telling Cheryl when we started Expresso back in the day, and when that was 3 years back, we didn't have these tablets that we worked on. It was paper. And just to see how far we've come. But just in your own words, the benefits of integrating technology into the education system. I know that it's happening more and more and more with schools from a very young age as well. But what would you say is that main benefit?
I think it makes students aware of the world. It allows them to look up answers. It allows them to develop critical thinking skills by analysing what the material is. The idea of only knowing what is in one book isn't going to prepare you for anything. So for instance, I was checking my email this morning, and my first class have all uploaded movies that they made on Movie Maker. They've uploaded them onto YouTube, and we'll be playing them in class today. So that is their assessment.
Wow.
But the skills that they've learned time management, they've learned self-regulation, they've learned try not to leave everything to the last minute because things will go wrong. And those are all the skills that you need. So it's not the technology, it's the skills that go with it and the way that it allows you to communicate and collaborate.
Indeed, and it's a whole new world out there. Cheryl, thank you so very much for coming through this morning, talking to us about the Microsoft Expert Educators Program. And it's definitely clear to see that technology in education is definitely the answer to the skills needed in the 21st century workplace, the information age, like I said a little bit earlier on. And it's incredible how far we've come and how quickly it's evolving. So if your young one is going to school for the first time and it requires an iPad, now you know why, maybe. At this moment, we are going over to the Express because news headlines coming your way.